chocolate angel food cake. My grandmother would make these, and I absolutely adored them, so I had to learn how to make them. First, you sift your dry ingredients together. You do that 4 times. That's a cup of flour and a cup of sugar. Actually, it's 2/3 cup of flour and a 1/3 cup of cocoa and a cup of sugar. When you make the vanilla one, it's just it's a cup of flour, no cocoa. But you just replace 1/3 of the cup of flour with cocoa. Anyway, sift that together 4 times. Then separate about 1.5 cups of egg whites and put your yolks. Save them for something else, maybe a custard. But then you beat those egg whites up with your sugar until you get hard peaks. It takes a little while, especially if your beaters are just a little wonky. But just keep at it. You'll get there eventually. Beat those egg whites. It's important not to get any yolk at all into your egg whites, because if any little bit of yolk gets in there, you'll just have to start over with new egg whites, because it'll be flat. It'll be a crepe, and that's not what we're going for here. Going for a nice fluffy angel food cake. You can add cream and tartar. It helps with beating those egg whites up. They'd be a little stiffer. But if you don't have cream or tartar, just don't put it in. Just beat it for a little longer time. Just keep at it. Just keep beating it. Beat it till it looks right, feels right. And you can kind of tell when it's right by it'll be stiff. It'll be the peaks will form. In other words, when you run your beaters through it, the tracks won't disappear. They'll stay there pretty much. That's how I tell. We're getting pretty close. Keep at it. But the fun's not over after you get this all done. You still have to mix in your dry ingredients. And you need to do that pretty carefully. Really supposed to just use 1.5 cups of sugar. It is a pretty sweet cake, but 2 cups of sugar is, I think, a little too much. So with that cup of flour, or that 2/3 cup of flour and a 1/3 cup of cocoa, you might want to just add 1/2 cup of sugar there. But you fold all that in a little bit at a time, being very gentle with it, so that you don't have just a flat concoction. You want nice fluffiness. But I remember going to visit my grandmother on Sundays, and she'd either have an angel food cake or tea cakes, which both of those I loved. And never quite mastered the tea cakes. I'll have to try that again. But you don't want any grease in your, cake pan here. You want it completely dry. You want it very dry, because any little bit of oil or grease will, again, make it a crepe. I know it's a lot of rules for an angel food cake. Kind of like don't feed it after midnight, don't get it wet, don't expose it to sunlight. I ran a knife around to make sure there wasn't any large air bubbles. And if you cool it upside down after it comes out of the oven, and then you cut it out of the pan. Now, I found out that my thermostat had malfunctioned on the oven, so this one got incinerated. I mean, it is supposed to be a nice chocolate brown color, but not a charcoal color. This one you could create charcoal drawings with.